So we're going to a movie night tonight, and if I don't have something to work on with my hands, I'm going to go crazy. So I have some of this that I really like the color of. This is Victorian Rose, Karen Simply Soft. I like these ones. They seem to have a nice sheen to them. I have some of these that I've had for years and years and years. Well, I'll try that. They're just some really pearly, milky white seed beads. And then I also have these, which I think are technically for scrapbooking. So I'm going to just start some kind of bag out of this. I've got a needle here. I'm just going to string all of these onto the yarn before I start so that they're there, because I'm not sure what I'm going to do for a pattern yet. And then these, and then I have a silver kiss lock that I might use this for. I've been holding it out. This thing here. So I'm just gonna string all these onto the yarn and bring it with me, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so I've gone a different direction. I couldn't get the white beads threaded onto the yarn, so I'm gonna use this gray instead. It's still the Karen Simply Soft. It's still got that nice, almost metallic sheen to it, because I found these beads that have a bigger hole, so I will be able to sew those on after. I'm still gonna use these in the frame. So the frame, if you count this corner one and this corner one, I have 30 holes across. So I've done a chain of 28 plus 1 to turn. So I'm going to work back across, add one here, back across, add one here, and that will give me my 30. And then I'm going to work down however many rows I need. And I am going to do 4 rows for this corner here. You'd probably fit 2 this way, but then when it opens, it's going to need more. So I'll do however many this is, plus the 4 for there. And what I'm going to do is when I turn this and start working back, I'm going to work, this is coming from the inside, I'm going to take the other end of the yarn and just run it along as if I'm doing a tapestry crochet, and that's going to keep it from stretching some. So I've got the first couple rows done. You can see I've got the increase there and the increase on that side, and that's just going to kind of curve it a little bit so I don't have really pointy corners at the bottom. It's a little bit bigger, but that's fine. A little bit bigger is better than smaller, and I'll just scrunch up a little bit when I stitch it on. Just make sure to kind of pull both sides after each row, otherwise it'll kind of curl and scrunch up. So that's what it looks like when I just finished a row. I just need to tug out those 2 sides and let this thread run in there a little bit more so it lays flat. Okay, so I cut the amount of rows I did short because it lined up already. It is a little wide, but I don't want to go back and do it again, so I'll just space out a couple of decreases. I'll do like 1 decrease in each corner a couple of times spaced through the bag. So now I'm just gonna take this, pick up the side, and go around. I'm also going to detach this one and probably just weave it in here, and not going to worry about that on the sides. I just want it on the bottom because that's where most of the weight's going to be, to keep that from stretching. So this is what I have so far. I'd wanted to make it taller, deeper, but I'm running out of yarn and I need enough to do this part. I did decrease a couple more times just until it was roughly the size of this. That'll be close enough. So now I'm going to run, I took some off the other end of the yarn, really long tail. I'm going to turn it inside out to do it. I'm just going to start a couple stitches in from the corner. I'm just going to run this thread down, across, up, over a few, down, across, up, and I'm just going to run that back and forth, and that one thread running through will keep it from stretching out. So there's the first row, if you can see it, first line I guess, to here, and I'm actually just going to run it right along the top here and not thread it in because I'm going to sew it onto those holes. So when I sew it, I'll wrap right around this one laying on top in both of those pieces, the front and back loop. So that way it won't be stretchy right up to the frame. Found a tissue box that fits close enough for this. If you can find something that fits the shape, to keep it. And I'll just keep going. And obviously the closer the rows are and the more rows you do, the more stable it's gonna be. I mean, if you only did like, say 2 or 3, you might get things kind of stretching out the gaps. But yeah, it's however much you want to put into it. So it goes across that way, and I went the other direction. I mean, it really wasn't necessary to do it across here where I did it inside, but I mean, I did that so I could show you both ways, and also I would rather have more reinforcement than less. Okay, so the stay stitching is what I'm going to call it, is all done. I want to add a pocket to the inside. I still have it inside out right now, but this is all I have left of gray, so I'm going to make a pink pocket because it'll be inside and nobody will see it. There's the pocket all done. I just did it 20 stitches by 15 rows and sewed it on the inside. Just a little pocket to put cards or cash or whatever. So I think now I can turn it right side out. Right side out. And I think I'm going to sew the frame on next so that I have an idea exactly what the shape of the front will be. And then I will put on whatever decorations. So I'm going to count how many stitches I ended up with all around to see how many total holes I have on the frame and how I need to space those out. If I need to stretch a certain amount per side or scrunch a certain amount per side. So I have 96 stitches around here and 112 holes on this. I'm only going to do 2 rows in here because the way it's made, I think it sets down in. So I will have 16 extra holes. So I'll have to keep that in mind and space them out accordingly. But that's a good number. Those are good numbers. Let's see, that'll be 8 on each side. So like 2, 4, 6, 8. So about 1 every inch I will stretch out. I was just sewing the frame on and my needle broke. Okay, so I sewed it on. It looks decent, but it's way off kilter. The corners don't line up at all. I don't know why. I thought maybe I miscalculated with the spacing, but it should have come out right. Or maybe not, because these sides aren't even. Nope. So what I'm going to do, I have some bobby pins here. I'm going to take it back off and then mark where each corner is so that it lines up with the corner of the frame. So what it is the top is square and the bottom is rectangle. So just starting at the corner and spacing them evenly threw it off. So I'll redo it. I also have a wooden dowel. I'm thinking of making a frame just to go in the bottom of it and then just stitch it in on the inside. I'm not sure yet. So, still not sure what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I started putting the white beads on and I didn't like how they were turning out, so I took those off. I have this all sewed on though, but I happen to have this literally just laying on the table. See if you can get the color. Here, it's a little more pale on camera, but it's just like this shiny, glossy green color. So I think I'm going to use some of this and just do like a little bit of stitching to kind of make some curly vines around it, because this was kind of supposed to look like flowers with the centers and everything, so if I put some vines around it, this is a great color for it. all done. I love how this came out. I had started putting the white seed beads in, but I couldn't get them to lay nicely, and it just looked really bad, so I took them back off. I have a wooden dowel. I was actually thinking of putting a frame in the inside, but I'm going to test it out, and I don't think I'll need to. I'm also not putting any kind of handle or anything on it right now, because I don't know what I want to do. I might find, or see if I can find like a leather belt or something at Goodwill, and make a strap out of that, because I feel like it needs a leather strap. The green embroidery is a little hard to see. Colors look like they'll contrast well, but then you put them together and they just blend. But even so, I think it just adds a nice little filler. Kind of fills it in. You can tell that there's green in there and makes it more look like flowers, I think. Pop it open. Pocket. Obviously with stuff in it and two hands, it won't be so awkward looking. There you have it. Thanks for watching, guys.